Hola Hispanoamérica, soy Víctor X, bienvenidos a 35 milímetros, el movie show que cada semana les presenta lo mejor del mundo del cine. Hoy les tenemos información acerca de Éxodo, la nueva película protagonizada por Christian Bale y dirigida por Ridley Scott. No se lo pierdan.
Ramesses, you grew up together, close as brothers. Keep each other safe. Always.
Basada en el libro del Éxodo y en otras historias del Antiguo Testamento, esta película nos muestra la vida de Moisés desde su nacimiento hasta su muerte.
You know something's wrong. You've always felt it. Your parents never told you the truth. What truth? The year of your birth, there was a prophecy that our leader would be born to liberate us.
That leader is you, Moses.
Well, the first time Moses comes up to Joshua, he is being beaten by a whip. And the audience knows that, Joshua is just one of the many slaves to be just abused. And so that's his first encounter. I think at the beginning, Josh was a little skeptical of this guy, this general, but he believes in his father, and he's a man of faith, and so he's very excited about the possibility of this, the story, the tale of Moses, and the man that speaks with God, and so that's how the relationship kind of blossoms there.
يلا 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 امشي 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 يلا ايوه ايوه امشي يلا 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 هاي هاي.
Oh my God. The first day of being on set with Ridley Scott, you realize why Ridley Scott is Ridley Scott. He's just such an iconic director, and he's an incredible man, but he has a very distinct vision, a story he wants to tell, very passionate. He's just a well-oiled machine and just always ready to go, and it's great. It's very exciting.
They are animals. I will drown them in the Nile, as you should have been.
Christian Bale entra en la piel del profeta y Joel Edgerton en la del faraón Ramsés.
I don't think so.
We're told they're raised as brothers, and they really behave and feel and see each other, view each other as brothers. There's a deep love there and a camaraderie which very early on in the story is tested by this prophecy that one may not fare so well on the battlefield, and the one that saves the other's life will, the one who's saved will not be the great man of Egypt. Which is a very kind of something that Ramesses and Moses both somewhat roll their eyes at, this idea of prophecies and the gods and the multiple god system. The prophecy comes true, and it starts to drive a wedge between the two brothers, which is deepened when Moses finds out that he's perhaps not really of the royal family, but in fact a Hebrew. And through the grapevine, Ramesses discovers this as well, and that's when he's sent into exile, and the relationship goes. But it's that beginning foundation bed of the raising of the boys with a deep connection that then somehow kind of complicates and strengthens that later division.
I came to tell you, something is coming that is far beyond my control. Unless you set my people free. I am prepared to fight for eternity.
To me, I'm too far in my portrayal. It's like when you can't see the wood for the trees. To define him with one word. Because to me, his very nature was the fact that he was so complex and he was so very, very human. This was not the other person was talking about superheroes. He's not a two-dimensional character. in any way whatsoever. He's very much representing almost every human emotion that you can possibly have. He has that throughout the Torah. So I would find it impossible to find one word, or at least I would have to take much longer than a couple of minutes to figure it out.
And also, you've got a guy who's brought up with status quo. Status quo being you have a slave population that is a free labor for Egypt and all its productivity and its success, and they become status quo. And at what moment, if you're half intelligent and you have any human feelings whatsoever, do you gradually adjust to that idea? Therefore, I think it's his conscience that built up, particularly when it was identified that in fact he was Hebrew. Then he went away, and then he had that period where he sat thinking about that. And I've always thought that the idea of the boy Malak could easily be perceived as his conscience on the mountain at that moment, which ignited him to get up and go back to return to Egypt.
Bring her in. Bring her in. Miriam, come, sit down. Now, I'm going to ask you some things that are going to seem very strange to you. I just would like you to answer them truthfully. How do you know Moses?
You know how I know him?
So you're not his sister then?
Of course not.
Just that, that he's so known and he's so personally loved and so important to so many people, and people have very, very strong opinions about exactly how he should be played. And I would talk to many people about that, and they would tell me that. They say, Christian, you have to play him this way. And then I'd speak with somebody else, and they would say something completely different. But I have to play him that way as well. And so you have to realize, all right, that's an enormous pressure, but that's a wonderful kind of a pressure, because it means that it's a vital story, it's a resonant story. And then I get guided by Rid and by Steve's alien script, and we forge our own way of portraying this character, who is a far more complex character than I had ever begun to realize.